the sound is a really interesting one. And I guess back to your initial comment about would it be something from an audit standpoint, but the only thing I could think from there, which just doesn't make sense, is some sort of a comparator from an audit perspective, right? Like is something non-conforming from a sound standpoint, but that seems too far fetched. I've not seen that.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the WBS Podcast. I'm Sam Gupta, your host and principal consultant at independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm Elevate IQ. Do you know a Sage ERP that was very similar to Acumatica with its data model and functionality? Do you know a Sage ERP that was targeted to discrete manufacturing, distribution, and project-centric manufacturing companies? Do you know a Sage ERP that was SQL-based and allowed multi-company accounting? Do you know a Sage ERP that is in maintenance mode and not going to receive any future updates? If you have guessed MES 500, then you are right. In today's episode, we invited a panel of industry experts for a live discussion on LinkedIn to conduct an independent review of Sage 500's capabilities. We covered many grounds, including its product architecture, evolution, release deadlines, and how it compares with other products in Sage's portfolio. Finally, we discussed its strengths with field service and project management capabilities, even though it being perceived primarily as the manufacturing and distribution product. With that, let's get to the conversation. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. And if you are joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. For today, we have a very popular solution in the Sage's portfolio. It's called Sage 500. It used to be called MES 500 as well. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. Before we do that, we are going to start with everybody's intros. I am going to start with my intro. If you don't know me, I am Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. On that note, I am going to move to Dave for his intro.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sam. Hey, everybody. My name's Dave Chrysler, and I own an operations consulting business working with leaders in the manufacturing and distribution spaces to help them create systems that free them to drive growth and operate with excellence. And I come to you with more than 20 years in various operational leadership roles, implementing ERP and developing systems to help businesses. So thanks for having me, Sam.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Dave. Andy, can I ask you to introduce yourself next?
Absolutely, Sam. Thank you so much. My name is Andy Pratico. I'll pull my microphone down here. I've been in the ERP business for small to mid-sized manufacturers forever. And I've worked all over North America. I've worked and I have experience with many different ERPs. I also give folks advice on how to uncover the truth about ERP system before they buy. So thank you so much for inviting me today, Sam. It should be interesting.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Andy. And if you are in the audience and joining for the first time, make sure you guys post your questions and comments. We typically try to cover them during the show. If we run out of time, our panelists are going to make sure that you receive your answers. On that note, guys, I am going to start with the quick briefing on Sage 500. and we are going to be recapping on their corporate strategy. And I cannot keep the count because obviously Sage has like a million products in their portfolio. But I believe after this, there is only going to be one that we have left. So, guys, if I remember correctly, I think we have done Sage X3, Sage Intacct, Sage Corporate Strategy. We have also done Sage 300. My understanding is that we have probably done Sage 200 as well.
We did Sage 100 for sure.
Yeah. Sage 100 is in the future, that I know for sure.
Oh, is it? So we didn't do it?
Yeah, so we
I'm
have
pretty
done
sure we
Sage
did 200.
200,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, never mind.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, this is a very interesting solution. And one of the things that we had discovered, if you guys remember overall in Sage portfolio, secret of Sage naming convention or the branding when they had 100 meaning 100 employees, 200 meaning 200 employees. So this is probably the biggest solution. And they ended up naming Sage X3. So obviously that's extra large, Andy. If you didn't realize that.
Well, I'm waiting for Sage 3000. So that should be pretty good stuff.
Right? Yeah. I'm waiting for Sage 5000 as well.
5,000.
But I don't
Yeah,
know,
I heard that
I don't
one's
know
a
when
good
that
one.
is
Yeah.
coming.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Sage corporate strategy and the other things that we had discussed during the corporate strategy discussion, that Sage likes to hang out with the accountants. Their main channel strategy is going to be to go through accountants, and they have always been very strong financial solution. In fact, I mean, if you look at some of the manufacturing installations, Sage was going to be used as more of the accounting solution. And on top of that, you'll have many of the solutions available in the market. They were very strong in manufacturing, they were not as strong in accounting. And those are going to be solutions such as, I believe, Job Boss. They use Sage, but only the smaller one, I guess. Sage 50, I believe. And then you are going to have Epicor and 4 they used to sell as just the operation software. And then they ended up developing their accounting capabilities as well. So now they are a complete ERP solution. Now, overall, from the Sage perspective, their solutions were the way they were designed, especially when we look at the smaller solution, 50, 100, 200, they had very different strategy from the multi-company perspective. So for them, if I remember, Sage 200, even that was sold as a separate product in different countries. Okay. So if you had multiple countries, they didn't have just one product that could accommodate multiple companies in one database. And for the most part, they were all very file based. If I remember correctly, Sage 300 is where they started doing SQL. So that is almost like the size, the way they like to go with. The smaller ones are going to have the file based database, the bigger ones are going to have the SQL Server database. So Sage 500 is a much bigger product that can accommodate up to 500 employees. Overall, from the functionality perspective, it's operationally deep as well. And, it has very strong multi-entity capabilities. Now, overall, from the product evolution perspective, if you review their roadmap right now, this is no longer being sold just because Sage has acquired a bunch of products. Sage X3 is the one that is positioned for cloud. They also have Sage Intacct, but they are not going to be as operationally rich for the verticals that Sage 500 was positioned for. So maybe Sage finally realized that the verticals that Sage 500 used to target wasn't the great fit for Sage as such. And Sage's strength is always going to be in verticals such as, if you talk about pharma, process industries, agriculture, construction. This is where Sage does really, really well. Discrete manufacturing has never been their play, but Sage 500 was the product that was positioned more for the discrete manufacturing, distribution, field services. If you look at today's Acumatica, you are going to get a feel as if Acumatica is implemented. Acumatica is exactly same as Mass 500. with the only exception being really fancy technology. Obviously, Mass 500 is a or Sage 500 is a very clunky product overall from the technology perspective. It's not receiving any new development or the major releases. They are simply updating, maintaining the existing customers that they might have. But I don't believe that they are selling this anymore. But we can still review and learn from it. And if you are going to be on Sage 500 right now, you probably want to move away from it because you don't know how many customers are going to be on this one. So, you might want to plan. Typically, ERP implementations are going to take at least a year to up to 2 years. So you want to have that time. And I don't know. I mean, see, we don't have official announcement when Sage is going to pull off the support, but typically they are looking at how many customers are left, and based on they are going to say, okay, move to Sage X3 or support is done. So that's how this works. So I'll pause there.
Sam, I made a comment before we got online. I got it wrong. I was thinking of a different product. This one is, you're right, it's exceptionally strong with the financials.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for the clarification. Any other commentary, guys? No? Okay. So if not, let's review some of the slides, and then if you guys have any commentary, we can take in between. So overall, if you look at the product architecture, again, it's very, 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 very similar to Acumatica, the way Acumatica is designed. The only thing that I could not really find between Mass 500, there are some differences actually. So the differences are going to be Mass 500 had some of the functionality related to agriculture verticals, because obviously that is Sage's vertical. They always wanted to go after that. So you are going to find the flavor for the agriculture, for the commodity industry. You are going to find what else is different from Acumatica in this one. You're going to find some of the pharma flavor as well for the process-centric industries. I don't know, to be honest, if they really have the process manufacturing capabilities. I doubt. This product was not really targeted for that. This has very deep capabilities. For example, let's say if you talk about ECO, it has very strong capabilities in the project manufacturing as well. So that's the difference between Mass 500 and Acumatica. The other difference, what Mass 500 did not have, is the branch functionality that today's Acumatica has. So I don't know, and again, Acumatica has branches. Mass 500, I could not see branches. So it does support multi-company, very strong multi-company features, but branches, not too sure. Okay, if you guys don't have any other comments. So here, the comment reads, these are the new feature and improvements. This is based on the roadmap. And I think they have 2 or 3 different releases that they are supporting right now. The major release was released in somewhere in 2016 is the release that they are trying to support. That is the most recent one. Before that, it was 2013. So they were trying to release every 2 to 3 years. So all of those releases are still supported. So we are going to review all of that in just a second. Here it says General Ledger Sync to Sage Pro Payroll solutions for customers that require an integrated payroll solution. The other layer that we always saw in the case of Sage is they always have payroll integrated as part of the ERP, because they are targeting some of the verticals where this functionality is going to be key. And those verticals are going to be number one, construction. Okay, you have to have payroll integrated, because if you are doing union reporting, if you have workers that require reporting, then you are going to have payroll integrated as part of your ERP. That's why even though Sage 500 is targeted for discrete manufacturing verticals or the distribution verticals, but this still has payroll integrated. The other thing, the ability to inactivate GL account based on natural accounts segment for GL accounts no longer used or needed. So you are also going to see a lot of functionality in Sage solutions that is designed to support audit. Okay, Sage has always been a solution to support very strong financials. And typically, this is going to be either for public companies or companies that are going through the audit process. So you are going to see a lot of layers, and that layer is consistent even with this product. So I believe I have never seen this functionality anybody using, but maybe Dave, Andy, If you guys have seen, please let me know.
Yeah, I've not seen this specific functionality, but it makes sense from a financial reporting standpoint for anybody that has to report on GAAP. So yeah, I could see where it'd be useful for sure.
I've talked to many companies that had this product over the years. I haven't noticed it as being a mainstream system for quite a while, but there was a time when it was very popular with manufacturers.
Yeah, exactly. And we are going to see why it is popular, to be honest. I mean, I still love the layout, the way it was designed. It's a very well designed product. So some more things: support for Microsoft Office 2016, Microsoft SQL Server. So we know that this is a SQL Server based product, and any of the products that are probably going to have multi-company. Now we are talking about real multi-company functionality, okay? Not just some random multi-company functionality that is sitting just in some brochures. So obviously you will require far higher backend power, and that's why this one was on Microsoft SQL Server. So these are three different releases, and I believe, okay, so they have 2016, they have 2014, as well as 2013, and all three are being supported at this point of time. So in the 16, they have done some minor updates. So here they are saying simplify tasks when working with multiple companies or records and reconciling accounts, credit card payments and inventory data, quickly identify which company you are working on, minimize, again, those are really the usability issues that they are trying to fix, or it is going to be the regulatory compliance issues that they need to support if they are charging customers, so they don't have a choice. But yeah, nothing major here. Here on 2014, they have they are doing something related to inventory as well, and obviously it has very deep inventory functionality. There is no question about that. This is probably one of the strongest, as far as I have seen in the Sage's portfolio when it comes to MRP functionality. Sage X3 is probably going to have, obviously, far deeper, but Sage Intacct obviously does not have. 2013, here they are saying process cash receipts more accurately and efficiently, import pending cash receipts directly. So yeah, so some minor updates that they are releasing for these updates, but again, the product is not necessarily supported. Just like your Microsoft GP or which and Microsoft SL as well. They don't have a clear roadmap at this point of time overall from the support perspective. Now let's review the screen. So one of the things that you are going to notice, that's a very similar layout as the Microsoft products or Sage product. They all have very, very, very similar layouts. The way they are designed, they are going to be extremely friendly with the Excel reporting. We saw this in the case of Sage 200 as well, that it had very strong analytics and the BI, because obviously the CFOs and accountants are going to be needing the analytics functionality. So here, one of the surprising thing for me personally in this product, when I used to think about Sage 500, I always felt that this was more of the discrete manufacturing product from Sage. I never thought that this is going to have such deep project manufacturing functionality as well as field service. So that's why I am trying to connect the dots that Acumatica has very similar strategy. They are trying to get, that mass 500 market share, because, again, Acumatica has project manufacturing functionality. Acumatica has field service. So it's very, very, very similar product in general. Now, some of the things that you are going to see overall in terms of the deep layers that this product has, it's going to have, for example, the project under project. So this is going to be master project. And I don't know, I mean, see, this is probably a very complex functionality from the project manufacturing perspective that we have not seen with these smaller products. Obviously, the bigger ones are probably going to have that. But with these smaller ones, you might not have that correlation. The other things that are really interesting here is going to be, for example, project budget. So budgeting functionality is always going to be very strong as well. And you will see how the budgeting layers are. It's literally with one click, you can literally specify budget for every account that we are going to review in just a second. But I love the way Sage approaches budgeting functionality as part of their products. Now, They have the estimate for the project that is all embedded as part of this functionality as well, and the purchase order. A lot of companies that try to claim that they work for project manufacturing, but the procurement is probably not going to be integrated. So obviously, this is a very thick functionality that you can do the entire MRP as part of your project manufacturing. So again, very, very, very strong product. I wish they develop this in the cloud native world. I still love this product.
Do you think the master pro? Oh, I'm sorry, Dave.
No, go ahead, Andy.
Do you think the master project, in relation to the project, is in fact another umbrella above, or do you think that that this is one large project with a bunch of tasks?
So in this one, the way my understanding is, in the way Sage likes to think, this is going to be more of the consolidation, the way you are doing the financial consolidation for the
I see. Okay.
project. So these are really the sub projects which are going to be doing the consolidation to the parent project.
Yeah, I was going to ask something similar. I mean, what was in my mind was kind of the sub-assembly process. I mean, at a larger scale, really, but
to be completely honest, I mean, I would like to relate it with the program, and I am actually surprised that they are using the term master project as opposed to using word program, because program is going to be far more common in the PMP community, and program is used in the automotive space, aerospace. You go to any of the
kind of
process manufacturing,
compliance.
NPD, they are all going to require program. So in my mind, that's program. Okay, so here now this is very, very, very interesting, and this is coming so you have really deep drill down built as part of the product, and this is the customer status screen that you can drill down right on the project itself, and here you are going to get the financial visibility that any financial person would like to have. I mean, this is everything that you probably need to know about a customer. So again, the way the product was designed was very organized. It was very well thought out. Here we are talking about days past due, days to pay. We are looking at all of the transactions related to that customer. You are looking at all of those aging buckets and the amount. The product cannot be as intuitive as this one, in my mind, especially for the finance person, because Sage likes to design products from the finance. So operations guy, they might not like it. I don't know how you feel, Dave, right now. But for the accountant and for the finance person, this is gold. So some very, very, very deep layers overall in terms of the project accounting perspective. So it had, and again, when you're going to be looking at for construction centric products, for example, Sage 300 is the construction centric product. And typically our assumption is going to be, hey, if you have project manufacturing, if you are going to be doing project manufacturing, let's say for your automotive aerospace, then your accounting method is going to be very different than your construction. In construction, you are probably going to have the cost-based accounting as opposed to doing either sales-based accounting or time-based accounting. So here, again, this actually supported all of those accounting methods. Just because, so you can see how rich this was. So we are talking about manual percent entry. We are talking about percentage of cost. We are talking about percentage of sales. We are talking about non-WIP. And then you have the project closure. I don't know if there is going to be any other possibility in terms of the project accounting perspective. So that's the depth of this product. It also had profit recognition by line. So again, at the line level, it had a lot of different functionality that not many small products can support. Typically, these features are going to be available in larger products. Now, and by the way, the profit recognition by line is very important when you are going to be in industries where revenue recognition is going to be critical. So you need to have that functionality at the line level, because each line could hit different GL accounts, and that's why that is really important. Now, this is the maintain contract rates by project, and it has very deep functionality as well. For example, you can specify the rate on the dimension of time. Let's say if the rate of 140 is going to be valid only from date 1 to date 2, you can have all of those layers. So it, again, project-based manufacturing, when you think about it, these are the feature sets that you are going to require, and then the approval rate as well. So very, very, very deep project manufacturing functionality. If you look at the reporting was very deep as well for this kind of product. I think we have seen the similar reporting in Microsoft GP as well, even though GP is a very small product. It was not supposed to be for multi-company accounting. This one is actually for multi-company accounting. So here we are talking about committed cost. We are talking about unbilled project profit. So again, when I think of this product, I never thought that this is going to be for project manufacturing, but it has a very deep functionality for that as well. Some more layers here. This is the estimate for the project. So Andy, and I don't know what your experience has been with this product. My assumption is going to be this is a very deep aerospace functionality, the way I am looking at it. And I don't know which verticals you have seen. I have seen, in manufacturing, make to stock, make to order, but I don't recall if I have seen it anywhere else in my experience.
I didn't realize it was so strong at project management. And yeah, to be in the aerospace, especially aerospace and defense contractors have to have that capability. But it looks like it's got all the stuff that a project manufacturer would need. I'm interested to see the manufacturing capabilities.
Exactly. But I mean, this is very similar to Acumatica as of today. Acumatica is going to have all of this, so it's very, very, very similar overall. So here now we have some more. This is the budget screen that I was talking about. The budget is going to be at the account level. You can specify the budget for each of the date. And by the way, this you can access just by right clicking on the estimate entry. Can you believe this? This is massive. I have never seen budgeting functionality so intuitive. And even today's product, if you look at the cloud native product, they don't make it as intuitive. For example, Acumatica is a very logical product in general, but you are probably not going to find the budgeting functionality as intuitive as this product. Now, these are the intercompany transactions. And again, Acumatica is going to have all of this. And these are the drill down that we are talking about that you can, and by the way, let me see, you are going to see similar drill down in some of the other products. For example, let's say if you look at your Infor Cloud Suite Industrial, on most of the Infor products, they have really good sort of the connection or the drill down. Drill down is the right term, basically for this, but they are not going to have as strong drill down from the financial perspective. In general, from my experience, this is where I think Sage has done a wonderful job overall with this product, the way the product is designed. If you compare this with SAP, SAP is going to have the workflow the way your Infor Visual is going to have. You are going to get the transactional workflow, and you sort of like to pick on that, Andy. I think you call workflow something else, and I'm talking about the transactional workflow, the transaction map. And I think you had a comment there as well. I don't know.
I think we're on the same page there.
Okay, amazing. So this is the intercompany, and intercompany functionality is going to be when you are, let's say, you are cutting a purchase order, and each of the line, let's say, belong to a different company. That's where your intercompany functionality gets really tricky. In allocating these costs, in allocating these lines for different companies. So this could exist at the sales order level as well as at the purchase order level. So when you look at Acumatica as of today, it's not going to have as a strong multi-company functionality because the way their tenants are designed, they are not really designed for the companies that are going to have different currencies or if they are operating in different countries. So for the most part, Acumatica is really designed. If you are doing, let's say, business in North America or North America, Canada, then Acumatica may be okay. But let's say if you're doing in 5 countries, that's where Acumatica is probably going to struggle if you are going to have a lot of data sharing between entities, and especially for the very strong manufacturing organizations where you are producing a part of product in one facility, then it goes to the next, and okay, it's a mess. The way that interaction works. So here we are talking about the financial interaction overall in terms of the way you are cutting the POs, the way you are cutting the sales orders. That's what we had in case of your Sage 500, which I absolutely appreciate. Okay, the other shocking point for me was that it also had very strong field service functionality, and again, it is very similar to Acumatica right now. So here we are talking about things such as service ticket, customer number, location, service level, priority. So look at the layers that you have. You have map integration as well in the desktop world. Can you believe this? So if you didn't have internet, I don't know how map was supposed to work, but the product is very desktopy, obviously. but they could integrate with MapQuest, which is just phenomenal in my mind. You have things such as manufacturing serial number and then INT serial number. I don't know what that is, but when you are going to have these equipments to repair, you would require the manufacturing serial number. Andy, do you have any comment there on INT?
Well, I was just going to say internal serial number versus manufacturing serial number. That's interesting because commonly the manufacturing serial number would be from in an electronic environment where it'd be coming from the component from the actual manufacturer, whereas they could also have an internal, but this is serial number, not part number. So it has the item number and then different types of serial numbers. That's interesting.
So they are able to somehow correlate the manufacturer serial number with your parent serial number. So if you look at the field service functionality in very complex products, typically what they do is they are going to create a serviceable assembly, and that BOM is going to be completely different from your your manufacturing BOM or planning BOM or estimation BOM. So this is going to be a serializable assembly. So what it is going to have is each of the units that are going to be part of your serializable assembly, they all are going to have their own serial number. So if you're going to scan, let's say if you are producing cars, and car has a serial number, but each of the components of that car are going to have different serial number. Now they could all have
yeah, that makes sense. This is internal component or subcomponent serial number versus the main component serial number.
So they are at the same level, Andy, in this screen. So they are really going to be for one part. So somehow this goes at one level deeper where they are also able to track the manufacturer serial number, which is just mind-blowing in my mind. So typically in the serviceable assembly, what you are going to have is you are going to have your own serial number because you are the one who's creating. You might have vendor cross-reference with the part. That's how you sort of track, okay, which is the part this is related with the vendor. But I have never seen the serial number correlation, in any of the product with respect to cross-ref. So somehow they are able to carry their information, which is just mind-blowing. Any other comments, guys? Even the terminology that this product uses is very similar to Acumatica. They are using class. Different product use different terminology. Acumatica also uses classes for whether you talk about chart of account, whether you talk about work ticket class. So it's very, very, very similar terminology. The other things, and this is the asset management functionality is very, very, very deep. So here we are talking about the manufacturing serial number. We have the manufacturing expiration on parts manufacturing. So they are segmenting it based on two layers. It is going to be based on your parts as well as labor. So they are able to track the warranty for both of those. Mind blowing, mind blowing. And then you have the layers as well for the services. They are able to track all of that. Again, very, very, very rich functionality. And this is the assembly that I was talking about, guys. This is the unit that you are going to find in the products that are going to have very strong field service functionality. For example, you are going to find this in 4CSI. You are going to find this in in 4LN. You are going to find this in Apicore Kinetic, I believe, but their bombs are not as strong, so it might struggle a little bit. But
did you say in Apicore Kinetic?
Yeah,
or something else.
Apicore Kinetic. Their bombs are not as strong as I like to see. So, for example, in this particular case, Sage 500, I would think that this would be more of the assembly product, but surprisingly enough, their bombs actually were very strong. So this is a core manufacturing product. The way it was designed from scratch, it was really designed for manufacturing. So again, mind blowing the way they have done this. So here, as you can see, Andy, in this one, this is your serviceable assembly, and each of the component as part of this assembly is going to have its own serial number. They are going to have its own warranty. So this is your custom, server system, and there you have the serial number, you have the model number, you have the customer, you have the service agreement, you have the parts warranty, you have the labor warranty, and you have the covered through. Now, if you click on each of these serviceable units, they are going to have their own serial numbers, and that's the assembly that I'm talking about. That is just mind blowing. This is only going to be present in products that are going to be really strong for the field service functionality.
Exactly, for field service. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is a very OEM perspective in my mind, because they are the ones who are going to be needing, because they are going to have multiple hands that are going to be exchanged in the process. Sometimes the control goes to your reseller, then it comes back to you. So it's a mess, and you have to have the end-to-end tracking. So this product was really designed from the OEM's perspective. Some more, this is the item maintenance, and the reason why I am trying to highlight the other functionality, because we all know that MAS 500 was the manufacturing product, but the strength really was in the field service project manufacturing functionality. Okay, so here you are going to see some more layers that you are not going to find in Acumatica product as of today. So, for example, you have the track method, and track method is nothing but your lot control, serialized control. You have the serial number mask. That is all common. What you're not going to find is going to be shelf life. You are not going to find date established, I guess. Valuation method common in most mainstream products. You are probably going to find freight class. Okay, you are not going to find. These products have cut corners, and they don't really accommodate the freight class. They don't really accommodate the commodity code. And this is where I think the MAS 500 was also being sold to your pharma-centric companies or the food-centric companies, because they would require this. They have very deep logistics capabilities that they need to track. If they cannot do that, they cannot ship their products. So that's why the freight class, and again, across the board, Sage products are really designed for agriculture, food. So they have to throw in some of that functionality here as well. Sales tax class, mind blowing. Never seen that before. Which is very, very, very interesting. We have seen sales tax functionality, but you don't necessarily have a class designated for the sales tax functionality, which is very layered, as well as a lot of functionality there. Fixed asset template at the maintain item level, mind blowing. Seasonal item that is only going to find in your commodity type environment. And then you have some of the functionality that you are going to find in the distribution product. For example, Apicore Profit 21, you are going to find things such as short description, long descriptions, categories, and this is very e-commerce driven concepts. So they have that as well. So obviously this product was probably sold for some of the distribution organizations as well. Now, this is also the whole technical architecture is very similar to Acumatica as well. So here, when you look at this functionality, here you could see SQL view, view name, lookup, and this all exists in Acumatica as of today. So architecturally, these two are very, very, very similar product you can find, and you can clearly see that this is very SQL driven. The architecture is very well thought out on this product. Then you have some very interesting functionality on the work order maintenance. So this is where your manufacturing is going to be ND. So here you are looking at things such as reason code, very common, entry date, required date, release date, manufacturing, commit date. Okay, interesting, very, very, very interesting. And I don't know where you would require these many dates, but seems like it was probably targeted for a lot of aerospace companies. That's where they would probably require all of this. I don't know. Do you guys have any comments?
It's interesting that it has the manufacturer commit date and the required date. You'd think they would be synonymous.
That would be my understanding.
You're committing. I mean, that doesn't mean that's the date you are delivering, but that's the date that you promised, right? But maybe it means something different.
Yeah, the required. Yeah, so it has probably very deep MRP functionality. That's why it is segmenting based on those two. And by the way, I mean, see, if you look at other terms such as step detail, even step is the same term that Acumatica uses even today. And it has sound and video. And I don't know, Dave, from your experience doing audits, do you have to use sound or video as part of your manufacturing maintenance that you have seen?
No, I mean, yeah, you could, right? You could implement all of that, but I also see they've got a spot in there for image for CAD. So I'm more inclined to think that this is going to be something along the lines of a, detailed work instructions, but from the project management standpoint, schematics, those types of things, supporting sound and video, perhaps. I mean, the CAD and the image makes sense for that, but not so sure on the sound and video.
So, Dave, just to be clear, this is probably not going to be the project work order. This is going to be manufacturing work order. This is the work order maintenance. But I think they are using sound and video for the instructions as well, that they could accommodate. I mean, this is all gimmicky. To be honest, I would probably not have that. But great that, I mean, they probably had that functionality.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because to your point about it being, kind of gimmicky, I don't disagree with that, but to me, it's just, especially back then, right? This data is so large. I would imagine that it would be somewhat of a system strain to include all of
Yeah.
that in the data
Yeah.
architecture, and then be able to pull it, what would need to be in real time to actually have an impact on what happened out on the shop floor.
Yeah, I am always scared in including any sort of video or audio formats as part of your ERP, but I can see some value when you are going to have large organization and when you have to send some instruction that these guys are not able to somehow follow, and they are, you have a lot of is- quality issues in your production process, and probably include a voice instructions
Yeah, I mean,
there.
that's a really interesting one. The sound
Yeah.
is a really interesting one. And I guess back to your initial comment about would it be something from an audit standpoint, but the only thing I could think, from there, which just doesn't make sense, is some sort of a comparator from an audit perspective, right? Like is something, non-conforming from a sound standpoint, but that seems too far-fetched. I've not seen that. So
Yeah, and if this were really the non-conformance, then that would be at the step level, because this
yeah,
is the work order screen, right? So this is
yeah,
really at the
that's
work order level. Yeah.
hmm.
I've seen that functionality of the sound in the video more so like you're originally saying for instructions at that work center.
Yeah.
Like, actually someone showing them how to do that operation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking too, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. So guys, some more commentary here. Overall, in terms of the drill down, as I pointed out before as well, this is really phenomenal the way the drill downs are in this particular system, and the strength of drill downs. I would not think that this is going to be as a strong system overall, but the drill downs were one of the most powerful that I have personally seen in any of these systems, and they are very logical the way they have done this. So here we are talking about, item analyze, inventory transaction history, and then we have maintain, and this is the data import functionality. And guys, again, if you look at Acumatica as of today, if you look at their data import functionality as of today, okay, it's very similar to this. It's a copycat of what Mass 500 was doing. So it's very, very, very similar. But again, this is very strong. Typically, finding this level of functionality in any system, they sort of have it, but it's not as logical as this. Then we have some more functionality here, and this is the forecast product groups, and this is the forecast entry. Even the forecasting is very powerful, the way forecasting is done in this particular system. Typically, for forecasting, you are probably going to be using one of the SNOP systems. But in this one, you could forecast based on your customer item combination, and you could literally forecast based on your months, and then you had the sales history right there. Again, I personally have not seen the forecasting to be this intuitive, which is built as part of ERP, and it has very rich functionality for the forecasting as well. So overall, MRP functionality was very, very, very strong in this product. This is your manufacturing setup, and some of the feature sets that I have seen in this one is very, very, very strong. For example, let's say if you have use operator factor in run labor cost calculation, I don't think I have seen that before. Use fixed setup bucket for run labor cost breakout. Use work center rate, that's very common, instead of your employee rate. That's very common. Require approvals for ECOs. So ECO functionality is very strong as well. Revision functionality is very strong in this product. Mark previous routings as inactive when current ECO changes. Very, very, very strong functionality for ECO. Allow insert of new steps to work order after audit. So audit functionality was very strong as well. Insert quality procedure routing steps during routing copy. Very strong overall. Again, I think this was a very, very strong product for the quality as well as for the manufacturing as well. Okay, if you don't have any other comments. So this is the bomb replace functionality. This we have seen in a lot of different job shop products as well. This is required typically for aerospace. So here we are talking about delete a specific item for all selected routings, add a specific item for all selected routings, replace items. So again, the way the data structure was designed, it can do a lot of different manipulation. You don't have to go to each and every BOM to be able to manipulate this. So obviously, it's a very powerful product. The ECO functionality, again, I don't think I have seen this in the smaller systems. I don't think even Acumatica support ECO functionality this strong as of today. And here we are talking about you have the ECO number for each of the ECO. You are going to have different BOMs. They are going to have their revs. They are going to have their dates. And again, that's a layer on top of your BOM. So a lot of job shop systems are probably going to claim this functionality, but they are all over the place with their architecture. This is one of the most logical ones that I have personally seen.
Yeah, Sam, I'd say the other, thing that kind of goes without saying with this type of functionality, this layered, back to that financial audit perspective, the audit trail of all of these changes that end up happening and what gets triggered in a process like this. I mean, it becomes extremely important for publicly traded companies, large enterprises that have to satisfy those requirements.
Or any kind of regulatory compliant type
Yeah,
manufacturer.
They
have to be able to trace straight back to the original transaction always.
Yeah.
Yeah, could not agree more, guys. So we have one review, and here we are talking about, this is the review coming from, this is the construction group, civil engineering. So now we know that they were using in this vertical as well, and this is the company that has 501 2000 employees. So they are breaking Sage's rule because Sage was up to 500 employees. So here they are talking about Sage 500 is being used by my organization in all departments, from field report entries to subcontractor management to accounting. All of our construction needs, all purchases and employees are being accounted on this program. I personally utilize their change order management, change request management, and I can see why they would utilize that, because this is one of the strongest that I have seen. It is being used on each project and from headquarters as well. Now, some of the complaints, Sage has a huge issue with user interface. The program itself is non-intuitive. And again, in my experience, this is the most intuitive software that I have personally seen. So maybe this user was coming from QuickBooks or something, and they had the expectation of that software. They didn't see how layered a software needs to be when you are going to be a large organization. So this is the best that you can get. If you're complaining about the real technology itself, the product is not cloud native, then I can understand that obviously it's a very clunky technology. But from the design and architecture perspective, this is one of the most logical products that I have personally seen. Sage is extraordinarily cumbersome for a program that has such functionality. Okay, again, I think the user's expectation, and by the way, the title of this person is Project Controls Manager. So their expectation is going to be more from the project perspective. They have used more of the construction project management products, and that's why they are finding the accounting software slightly more difficult, which is understandable. Here they are saying, I had to consult with the Sage professionals on numerous occasions to explain and walk me through the program, as there are so many redundancies. And yes, sir, you have to consult with a consultant, because this is supposed to be a complex product. Okay, you cannot do it on your own, otherwise you are going to be frustrated. So make sure you convince your management team that get you some training on these products before you start driving this car. Here, long time devotee of Sage 500. So I'm not the only fan here of this product. And here it's saying multi-company processing, including intercompany transactions within account payable, purchasing and general ledger, which I can see why they would like it. Handles multi-currency transactions with ease. Handles multi-business entities, warehouses, divisions, regions, locations, departments. Mind-blowing. The application is very functional, but the interface is a little stale compared to modern applications, which I completely agree.
because obviously they are not investing in the technology itself. Here, Sage 500 is great for companies with core accounting needs, distributors, and discrete manufacturing. So they have highlighted, and then they are saying process manufacturing would require, some sort of add-on. I think that's what they are saying. And then construction and retail apparel is probably not going to be a good fit. I completely agree with this assessment and the review. Some more review. So here, this is the consumer goods. 51 to 200 employees, slightly smaller. So let's see what their reaction is going to be. By the way, this was in 2015. So the biggest concern complaint of Sage 500 user is going to be speed. So even though it was functionally rich, the probably it did not have the firepower of a larger system. That could be the reason why they are feeling that the speed wasn't as great. Some of these screens take a while to load. The user interface needs some refreshing that everybody is complaining about. This one is from 2020, so it's slightly newer review. Sage has put this product into maintenance mode. So this is the confirmation that this product is no longer supported. So there is not a lot going on, and the significant feature development planned for this product, it might make it difficult. It does not have one thing. If it does not have one thing it might need, I think that's more of a positive comment that it has a lot. And that's it for the session. Commentary.
I think, my takeaway from this one, tons of, to your point, Sam, tons of features. And what's a little scary from the takeaway standpoint is if you're a user on this system, what's going to be coming next, because some of that functionality you may be hard pressed to find, moving forward. So having some real thoughts about, what your business model is and what those processes are underneath that, and how the functionality works today, and what might need to change from a process improvement standpoint based on the functionality of a system that you're working to identify. I think that's probably the big takeaway, and kind of something that should be awfully concerning for people currently operating this platform.
Yeah, I would concur. I think what this points out is it's all part of the due diligence people have to do when they're evaluating these types of systems. I don't think that this one has been sold for a while, but it certainly was sold like 10 years ago. And I'll bet there's a few companies that are really questioning their decision today and not knowing which way they're going to go. The new product from Sage X3 is more process manufacturing focused. So this really isn't a replacement for that.
Yeah.
So buyer beware.
Could not agree more. And I don't know if there is going to be a upgrade path for those customers. I mean, in my mind, the right upgrade path is probably going to be 500 to Acumatica, because it's going to feel so natural. Even the terms that they are using, to be honest, in this product are very similar. So that's going to be very relatable experience. Sage X3, I don't know if that is going to be a relatable product, just because it's really, as Andy pointed out, that's really designed for process manufacturing.
I think the other thing that this kind of highlights back to the the product roadmap and kind of the corporate strategy as we go through some of these sessions. It really, for me, it just kind of highlights that you don't necessarily know, back to your point, Andy, you don't necessarily know what you are going to be getting, and that there could be a left turn coming without much warning. And so it's really challenging. This is a really challenging decision when you're going through the ERP discovery and ultimately implementation process. And if anything, not that any of us have a crystal ball, but if anything, it continues to kind of cement the fact that you need to have a lot of conversations around the discovery process, around the business processes and the future of your business in terms of what you see growth potential in, to try to identify the appropriate solution as you move forward through this.
Okay, Andy, any more comments before I test this question, or if you guys want to read it?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so the question is, perhaps the work order video and image would be for on-site updates, and I don't know if you guys are going to have any sort of comments there. On-site updates, I don't know, like it could have pictures of install completion or perhaps the inspection result would include pictures of cracks in foundations or things like that. So video, yeah, I mean, these are really the instructions. I think that's what we have been saying. So from the sound perspective as well, I mean, so with sound, you are going to have much lighter file than a video. And if you are using the high quality video like Dave Chrysler, then good luck with that. One video is probably going to be, how much your ERP database is going to be.
They better get some extra storage.
Right?
And to Anders' point, I could maybe see, I think where he's coming from, I could maybe see that on the field service side, specifically where you're wanting to capture something like that.
Specifically for inspection, as he says.
Yeah. But I think otherwise it's really on the instruction side of things. It's what makes the most sense from what I've seen.
Just to be clear, I think the screen that we had reviewed was work order maintenance. That was not field service order. Typically, field service goes through a different screen in general.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Well, no, I know. I was pointing out the fact, though, that to me, based on what Anders wrote, that part would belong in the field service, not in the work order maintenance, was the point I was making.
And my guess is going to be probably Sage 500, the way the product is designed, it's probably going to have consistent experience. So you are probably going to find those options
multiple places.
Unless you are using some random product that does not have any sort of architecture, then okay, good luck with that. Any more comments, guys? We have 1 more minute right now.
No. It just shows you that nothing's forever.
Nothing is forever, Andy. That I can tell you that. All right, guys. So if you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series, for which we meet every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We are going to come back with another vendor or the solution. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks Sam. Thanks Andy.
I cannot thank our guests enough for coming on the show, for sharing their knowledge and journey. I always pick up learnings from our guests, and hopefully you learned something new today. If you want to learn more about Dave Chrysler, head over to thechrysler.club. It's THECRYSLER.CLUB. If you want to learn more about Andy Pratico, head over to ESSoft.com. It's ESSOFT.com. Links and more information will also be available in the show notes. If anything in this podcast resonated with you and your business, you might want to check other related episodes, including the interview with David Taylor, who shares his insights into the pros and cons of the OEM distribution model for ERP systems. Also the interview with Nick Foy, who shares his insights on the reasons for ERP implementation and adoption failures, based on his team's experience in saving Odoo implementation. Also, don't forget to subscribe and spread the word among folks with similar backgrounds. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please review and rate us on your favorite podcasting platform or DM me on any social channels. I'll try my best to respond personally and make sure you get help. Thank you, and I hope to catch you on the next episode of the WBS Podcast.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.